You might think that the title and thumbnail of this video are clickbait. If you give me 30 seconds of your time, I'll let you decide. If it is, you can swipe on and be on your merry way. And if it isn't, then hopefully the message in this video resonates with you and might just completely change the way you go and achieve great things in your life. 99% of people in the world are convinced they are incapable of achieving great things, so they aim for mediocre. The level of competition is thus fiercest for realistic goals, paradoxically making them the most time and energy consuming. If you're insecure, guess what? The rest of the world is too. Do not overestimate the competition and underestimate yourself. You are better than you think. For those familiar with Tim Ferriss's work, this is an excerpt cut from the 4-Hour Workweek, a book that fundamentally rewired my outlook on the world around me. I received it at a time when I was processing the grief of my late father's passing. I was having a bit of a quarter-life crisis, having just turned 26 years old. And for the first time, it suddenly gave me this nearly like out of body, out of kind of society lens on everyone and everything around me. It made me realize that I didn't want what everyone was having, because if I did what others did, I was going to get the same results that everyone was getting. And looking at most people, they were overweight, unhappy in relationships, and in dire financial or struggling financial situations. They weren't empowered in themselves, they weren't empowered in their lives. When you think about the bell curve distribution that plots how most populations are distributed, behaviorally, socially, economically, it generally seems to ring true. The majority of people are in the middle. And if you look at what the majority are around you, like right now, my friend, like if I ask you to take stock of all the friends you have around in your life, the people in your neighborhood, all those that you work with, those in your local communities, your group, your church, your sports club, whatever it is, all around you, and you ask yourself a serious question: are they currently living a life that you admire or that you're inspired by, or that has the kind of achievements and aspirations that you're looking towards? This isn't from a critical point of judgment. This isn't that you're greater than or less than. But I think, as Dan Pena famously shares, is show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And I cannot understate the enormity, the nearly gravity-like influence that those around you are having consciously and unconsciously on the direction of your life. Most people, I'm sure as you'd be aware, don't dream big, because somehow in the first quarter of our life, we seem to have ambition and that childlike creative wonder beaten out of us, told to set more realistic goals, to say that, oh, we're dreaming, you're out of your mind, that's too crazy, who are you to do that? And it wasn't until I read this passage and went through a few months of therapy and metacognition and being able to assess my own thoughts, reflect on myself and see myself in others and see others in me, that I had this sudden to realize that humans have this remarkable ability to project our insecurities on others and to project our own limiting beliefs onto others, because it helps reinforce our fragile sense of self. The idea that someone can go and do something that breaks your own belief can be a really confronting reminder that you're stagnant, that you've stayed in the exact same place where you are, and that someone going and achieve outrageous creative goals that you may have at one point in your life once had yourself means that anyone else that challenges that, you try and put them in their box. Or someone else may have done that to you. If you're watching this video right now and for whatever reason YouTube has put this on your radar, you've chosen to click on it, or you're still watching at this very point in time, because according to the stats, probably only 70 or 80% of people have dropped off. So you're probably the 1 in 10 or 1 in 100 that might still be here at this point. There is a greater potential inside of you, and you may be getting suffocated by the mediocrity of the goal setting and the ambitions and the beliefs that are put on around you. And so, in a kind of roundabout way of answering the very headline of this video, what is the laziest way to achieve greatness, to be remarkable in whatever field it is? It's to set goals and have a level of belief, can be borderline delusional, that you're capable of doing things that 99% of people aren't even willing to do. I think a lot of people in this world waiting for results, the if this then that fallacy. They're waiting for a result to then start changing behavior, but it's putting the horse before the cart. For example, it's saying, oh, when I'm a millionaire, I'll start saving money. When I start fitting into that dress, or I have 6-pack abs, then I'll start eating healthier. And it's like, no, it doesn't happen that way. You have to start changing your fundamental beliefs and your habits and your perceptions and your outlooks, the things that we can really control, that are then going to incite or catalyze you starting to take the actions and reinforcing the identity that you hold within you and what you know you're capable of. So honestly, I don't have a silver bullet, and I don't think I have achieved what might be rambunctious, remarkable, sexy, high status goals that most people would have. But I can definitely say, if I look back at the 10-year-old, 15-year-old, and 20-year-old version of me, at the life that I get to live right now, the luxuries, quote unquote, and the wealth that I have that isn't just in a monetary sense, but is in so many other areas of my life, I am so, so grateful that I did not have an environment of people that put out my flame, or if anything, I had mentors and guides, both virtual and in person, that helped me shoot for the stars, that really told me what I wanted to do was unrealistic. And I'll be honest, I've had a few people say that to me before in the past, that it was a bit of a bye Felicia moment from then onwards. I just spent less time with them less often because I didn't want that energy weighing down or being any unnecessary weight towards the direction that I knew that I was going towards. And as a result, I was able to attract other dreamers and doers that were willing to go out and make it happen. So the laziest way to achieve great things, it honestly just starts with the very software, the very wiring, the very belief that you have in yourself. Even if you don't have evidence of it yet, just seeing it in your mind's eye, your higher power, knowing that if God or whatever force or intelligence of the universe you believe in can even let you conceive it and see a spark of it in your mind in those quiet moments, not when with your friends or not when everyone's doing New Year affirmations and New Year's resolutions, but in those quiet moments when you're by yourself, putting your head on your pillow at the end of night, or having a moment of quiet and tranquility when you're on a long flight and you don't touch your phone, you don't have any technology, maybe you're in the shower, you're sitting in the park and you're just watching just the miracle of life around you. And in those quiet moments of stillness, that little spark of inspiration, source, creative power, whatever you want to call it, put something on your mind, put something on your heart. It wouldn't be there if there wasn't a possibility of you manifesting that and bringing it to this world. Do you have any results or evidence of it at this point in time? No. But neither did the Wright brothers before they made their first successful flight when everyone told them they were crazy, right? Neither did Elon Musk when anyone said that privatized space travel was an impossibility, right? Neither did Steve Jobs of the idea of putting an iPod, an iPhone, an all-in-one device before he stepped on stage in the late 2000s to present the iPhone. And so while I hope this video was not by any means a bait and switch, I hope it makes you realize that you don't become an outlier. You don't achieve extraordinary things. You don't become great in your lane, in what you're called to do in this life by trying to bland yourself and merge yourself in with the mediocre. Because greatness doesn't come from mediocrity. Greatness comes from a boldness and a courage and a willingness to go beyond. And I know that from a survival perspective, banishment from the tribe or, not being included meant that your survival was at stake. We are fortunate, at least in some parts of the world, that we live in a society where survival is no longer based on very, very primal survival needs, safety, security, trust, tribal protection, etc. It is for some parts of the world, if I'm, completely honest, but realistically, if you're here watching this on a mobile phone, a TV, or whatever device the future holds, whatever this video might be screened on or projected on in the future, it actually just starts with a belief that you are not ordinary and your creator didn't make you to be ordinary. It's a disservice for you and the entire world and everyone who could possibly impact from whatever gifts and whatever greatness you can tap into within you, but that cannot get to the world. That cannot get out there. You cannot live that kind of life of greatness unless it starts with you just choosing to just realign your very software, to realize that everyone around you, even the greats that you look up to, are still riddled with insecurity, but they still choose to press on anyway. They don't let it keep them bunched up in that zone of safeness, of mediocrity. They dance with it and they see that as a signal. They realize that when things get hard, when things get tough, the tough get going. That is the point in which 99% of people quit. They opt for comfort. It's too challenging. It's too hard. It's the 1-2 day resolutions for the gym or for the new habit or posting on content that all of a sudden quits. So my friend, that insecurity and that discomfort that you feel, it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's actually a signal. It tells you the same threshold point of discomfort that if you're feeling it, everyone else is feeling it. You know what everyone else does when things get hard? They quit. So it's another piece of content. It's another tough conversation with a friend or a peer or a colleague that you need to have. It's another rep in the gym set. It's another day of rocking up and doing the exercise you don't feel like doing, right? It's another day of showing up for your kids, even if you feel like you don't have any sleep, you don't have any time of day for it. Whatever it looks like, that is exactly when and where you have a choice. You have full autonomy. Now, please use your discretion. There's a difference between harming and injuring yourself and going into excess and burning out. But it's also a signal to say it's really just you against you. And the version of you that is on the other side of that discomfort is the one that is able to learn to embrace it, recognize it's never going to go, realize you'll only get better at dealing with it, but it's inherently part of the game. It's part of your journey. It's part of your evolution. So those are my today thoughts. I just wanted to get on and riff. I don't know how cohesive or valuable this will be, but I know when I read those words from Tim Ferriss all those years ago, and I suddenly reorientated my approach towards everything I was doing in life. The flow and effect of all of those lucky opportunities and serendipities that other people said, must have been so lucky, must have worked so hard for. My guilty confession after all those years was, I don't think I worked any harder than others. I think the toughest game that I had was more mental than it was physical or with any kind of output that I had on the world. And so if you've made it this far and you know that working harder and slinging more hours and hard work and effort hasn't really gotten you far in life, just use this as a chance to audit yourself and ask, what are you actually aiming for? Wherever you are in life right now is a byproduct of the goals that you set at some point in the past. Whether you set those goals intentionally or they were injected from others around you, have told you roughly what your thermostat or your threshold was to aim for, whatever your life looks like right now is ultimately a byproduct of you calibrating towards that threshold of what you aimed for. Neither good or bad, it's just the life that you're living right now. And I hope this can act as a recalibration or a refresh to be a little bit delusional. I'll leave you with that one, my friend. I'll see you on the next one.